Okay, happy Thanksgiving, everyone! I hope you're having an amazing day. Just sitting around your house in your most amazing clothes from roughly the knee up, and then like woolly socks and slippers from the bottom. I hope you have family members around you that you love, at least the vast majority of them that you love, and hopefully there's at least one person who's weird but not in a creepy way, just to keep things lively. I, unfortunately, do not get this luxury for today because though I'm American, I live in the UK. Like, you probably already know that if you watch my videos, but it's like a sore subject for me right now. I don't really want to talk about it. Like, when I get extra days off because I live in the UK, I'm like super happy about being an expat. But like, when I have to work on some of my favorite American holidays, I get a bit salty. Like, don't talk to me right now. However, to celebrate this, even though today I had to work, I've dressed up in all my best bits, okay? I actually have to wear shoes, which is annoying because I have to like go to the office. Ugh, sorry. I usually go home for Thanksgiving like every other year. So like I'll have Christmas in America with family one year, and then the next year we'll have Christmas here in the UK with my husband's family, but before that we'll have Thanksgiving at home in America. So last year was a Thanksgiving year. This year is a UK Thanksgiving year. So I can't have like all of my normal traditions, but I can do some things, and I've chosen to celebrate in one of the ways that I do like, which is to pick like a collection of books to read over the course of like the Thanksgiving week. And when I'm at home, I tend to sort of make it like really woke, you know, like something political expose about the political situation in America, or various politicians or activist groups who are fighting back against sort of the foundations of Thanksgiving and how racist they are and everything. But like when I'm away for Thanksgiving, when I'm here, like basically it's just full nostalgia in my heart. It's like nothing but love for America and like me being sad that I can't be there for Thanksgiving. So I tend to read like things that are nicer toward my home country and like celebrate it in a better way. So this year I've done that. Like, what better institution, I ask you, in America than the gas station book rack? For real though, okay? I didn't realize that gas station book racks were a super weird thing until I started traveling the world and like I moved to the UK and everything, and I found out that gas stations generally are just like gas and food, maybe? You know, sometimes they've got a bit of stuff like to help your air pressure, you know? But a random book racks of dusty books that no one reads. Like, only in America. Why is that? And you do know that people read them, okay? Because sometimes they'll go back to a gas station another time and I will find new and different books there, okay? So I'm not the only one who loves a good gas station book rack. And sometimes they're brand new books, okay? And sometimes they're like a used section, like where you do a drop off. Like you drop one that you don't want to read anymore and you pick up another one. You know, and sometimes they'll do a circuit, you know, for like 40, 50 years. You know, I got some in my pile sometimes from the 60s. Like, that's just how long truckers have been reading them and dropping them off. So every time I go home now, when I like go on a trip or go anywhere and I find one of these amazing gas station racks, I gotta get in there, okay? Because they're always super cheesy. It's always stuff that truckers read or people on the road thinking like truckers. There's like something that happens to you when you get on the open road in America, even if you're like a super normal city person, you know, like your life is made up of just walking to work and home and like, you know, being a vegetarian and like just really, you know, city type stuff. But as soon as you get on the open road, suddenly you need to read like a Western. Do you know what I mean? You need to read like a super trashy romance where somebody gets ravaged, okay? Like something about being on the open road back home, stopping for gas for like some Cheetos and a pee, you know, you just need to get stuck into something cheesy. So that is why for this Thanksgiving, I've decided to read over the course of this week. So I've started all three of them, but I haven't finished them yet. Like I'm about halfway through them now. And I've got a couple of more days left in this like Thanksgiving week to finish them. But I'm going to tell you now what these amazing books are really quickly. I am on my lunch mind, and I have spent ages arranging fancy crackers and dip because it's Thanksgiving. So I've wasted already quite a lot of my time. but it's okay, because if I'm a little bit late, going back to work today, I think I can like play a card, you know, I can be like, but it's my American holiday and I'm in work. Like, can't you feel bad for me, you know? I reckon my boss will look at me and say no, give me a bollocking, and then tell me to come in early tomorrow. But it's still all good, because I will have gotten that extra time. The first one I want to give you, okay, is Coyote Waits by Tony Hillerman. So I picked up 2 of these bad boys in like Arizona or New Mexico, something like that. There's this massive like Indian reservation, this like Navajo tribal reservation. It's like spans hundreds of miles surrounding sort of Monument Valley in Arizona, and it sort of like goes over different borders. So it's like part of it in Mexico, and I think there's part of it in Colorado as well. But so I was driving through to New Orleans with a couple of friends of mine, and we stopped at Monument Valley just to like have a look around and everything. And there was one of these there. I think the one that I got before was called Skinwalkers or something like that. And I saw it like in a really dusty back corner of like the place where you go in to pee. And I was like, okay, yeah, that looks pretty cheesy. So I got it, and I realized after I got it that it's the basis for this TV show that I used to watch in the 90s whenever I was like sick at home. It's really good like daytime TV viewing when you're like too ill to go to school. But it's like a TV show called Skinwalkers or something like that. And so after I realized that I'd made a huge mistake by only getting one, I was like, dear God, how do I go back? But then when we stopped for gas just after that, I found another dusty rack in the gas station that had another one. So that's where I picked up Coyote Waits. Right, so this, like the basis of the series is these detectives, right? These police detectives, but they're Navajo police, so they're like tribal police. They're not like state or sort of city or county police, you know? And the series is really long. There's something like 30 books in the series. And the series starts out with just this one guy, this one detective, or like the focus is the main detective, Joe Leaphorn. Who's a bit of like an old cranky guy, but he knows his stuff, you know? He's like quite the wizened detective. He's like Navajo, you know, blah, blah. And then sort of near the end of the series, it switches from him. He retires and it goes to the next guy. It passes on to Jim Chi, who's younger. He like works part-time as a shaman, you know, like, or like one of these like dream bringers or whatever. Like he does these like ceremonies for the dead and stuff for the Navajo people. But he's also a policeman and like a detective. But the books in the middle, so like beginning part of the series is Joe Leaphorn, end of the series is Jim Chi. The ones in the middle, like roughly this one and the one before it, and I think the one after it, it's like in the middle of like a transition period. So the Skinwalkers one and also this Coyote Waits one, where they're both in it together. And I just love both of them so much. They're my favorite part of the series. But in this particular one, like, okay, so I'm about halfway through it, but I'm worried about giving you some spoilers. So I'm just like gonna give you like a rough go at the back. Like, it's super annoying when people just come on this thing and like read the back, but I'm gonna do it anyway because, like, what are you, my boss? Okay. The car fire didn't kill Navajo tribal policeman Delbert Nez. What kind of a name is Delbert Nez? A bullet did. And the old man in possession of the murder weapon is a whiskey-soaked shaman named Ashy Pinto. Officer Jim Chi is devastated by the slaying of his good friend Del and confounded by the prime suspect's refusal to utter a single word of confession or denial. Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn believes there is much more to this outrage than what appears on the surface as he and Jim Chi set out to unravel a complex weave of greed and death that involves a historical find and a lost fortune. But the hungry and mythical trickster Coyote is waiting, as always, in the shadows to add a strange and deadly new twist. So loads of it is like a proper murder or a proper crime or something, but it's like got a Navajo spin on it, you know, like, Navajo pots from, you know, hundreds of years ago were stolen or dug up, or, you know, something like in the real world tangible has happened. But there's always this like background feel of something like mystic, you know, and sort of like based on old folklore and sort of legends of the Navajo. And there's always like people in it who are interviewed and who are part of the scene who are really like intense believers of all this stuff. So you sort of start to believe that it is sort of actually these mystic and sort of otherworldly things that are live factors in the investigation and the crime and everything. Like, the last one that I read, it did end up being just a normal thing. And I remember from the series that it did always end up being like a proper, you know, criminal, flesh and blood and everything. But like it weaves in so much cool like mysticism, and like there's like the belief of the people who are in it are so strong that you start to believe it as well. And there's loads of things to Google as well while I'm reading it, because it is based on like real life, you know, Navajo life and living on this reservation. Most of the people who are in it speak Navajo. Like they don't, the book isn't in Navajo and it's not translated from Navajo, it's written in English. But a lot of it, it'll be like, he said something, something, something in Navajo, and then he told it to so-and-so, who then told to so-and-so in English. So then such and such was like lost in translation, and that's one of the big things. Like, did he say he was something something, or did he say something something, which means something completely different, and then it hinges the whole thing, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, loving this, about halfway through, and it's just as cheesy amazing as the other one that I read, and as the show. Like, I think you can watch this show, or episodes of this show, on YouTube fully, so I'm gonna link one or two down below, because they're so good. Like, when you're sick at home, and in the mood for, like, not a lot of, like, really intense thinking about stuff, but some, like, really nostalgic, crappy daytime television from the 90s, it is gold, friend. It's so good. I'm running out of time. Right. Okay, so the next one I found this one in a gas station somewhere between Seattle and Idaho when I went this summer for my grandpa's 80th birthday. Like, I think originally I found a gas station that had a bunch of like Louis L'Amour westerns in it, and I like insta'd it or I tweeted it or something, and my cousin Anna saw it and was like, I love that book. That's one of my favorite books. And I was like, are you serious? Like, how can that be? And she was like, no, they're really good, blah, blah, blah. And I started Googling them, and I was like, actually, yeah, these might actually be really good. And dude, they are, okay? So it was made into a movie in the 50s, I think late 50s or something like that. And it does have like big movie stars from the time in it. Like, I think when I looked, I didn't recognize any of them, but they're like big stars for the time. So it's a bit of a classic movie already. When I came upon this book again in another gas station, guys, there's so many gas stations with so many dusty book racks. Like, if you are not American, like, I feel like you need to go there just for this experience, because right next to some sort of like kitschy wolf statue or something, there will be a dusty book rack of awesomeness. So this book was originally, all right. Also, this is the 1985 copy, ladies and gentlemen. This has been traveling round the trucker scene for the last 35 years or so. Okay, I'll just give you the back just quickly, okay? Because I feel like obviously it's going to tell you the most important stuff. Like, just calm down, you know, I'm sorry. Are you ready for this? The guy's name is Rock Bannon. Rock Bannon knew he was a fool to keep scouting for a wagon train full of ungrateful Easterners. He had fought beside them and even saved them from a brutal Indian attack, but not a man among them called him friend. Instead, they paid him back with scorn, warning him away from Sharon Crockett because she was one of their own and he was nothing but a killer. Ignoring his advice not to trust a slick con man like Morton Harper. Y'all, Morton Harper. Harper lusted for land and for Sharon Crockett, and he didn't care how he got either one. But one day, the settlers would realize their mistake, and then they'd turn to Rock Bannon, the only one alive with a prayer of saving their hides. Oh my god. I am loving it. Okay, like, I know that it's super cheesy, and like sometimes when you read super cheesy things like this, you need to go into it knowing that it's cheesy. Like, you just need to be ready for the cheese and embrace the cheese. And once you do that, it is a whole eye-opening experience about life, okay? The nature of human existence. It's amazing. It's like Rock Bannon, like everything he says is like with hooded eyes, you know, or like with a snarl, you know, or like he's very curt, you know, he's a man of few words, like somebody who's meant to be like a con man or like slick or like not very confident comes over and just babbles in his face, and then he just says, yes sir, that's what I said, and then he just turns and goes. But Sharon Crockett, he is for the Sharon Crockett, and he is about to get on that toast. But everybody else, you know, doesn't want him to get on it. They want to get on it, okay? But she's, you know, a Western girl. She's wild, you know, she's got a mind of her own. She likes to speak it. God, guys, this is good stuff. I think after I read this one, I will be continuing on to the Louis L'Amour others. There's about 500 of these as well. Okay, I have left the best and worst of these for last, okay? Number 3 in my group of books to read for Thanksgiving from the gas station dusty book section, Love, Cherish Me by Rebecca Brandywine. Oh my god. Okay, like, can we just talk about the cover? Like, let's just take a moment to express appreciation for this cover. Okay, also, can we look at this? That is the author's photo. That is the photo that she was like, God, they need to have some sort of author photo on it. I'm gonna go get a glamour shot, and it is going to be hazy, you know, soft focus, and in red. Oh my god, I love it so much. Okay, so you gotta go into this one as well knowing that it's gonna be cheesy. Like, the very first scene is just pure erotica. The way that Indians are portrayed is less than ideal. Also, the way that the girl's slave nanny is portrayed is less than ideal. Like, this was the 80s. It was written in 1981, 1982, and it literally is a copy from the 80s. Like, that's how long this has been making the rounds amongst the truckers, okay? Like, I think, like, some of it is borderline offensive, I think. But I don't know, like, how to go about, like, things like this when I'm reading it. Am I like, you know, it's old, you know, should I, like, take it with a grain of salt because, you know, it's super old and people, you know, are more woke now? I don't know, you have to sort of, like, go into it with this mind, like, you know, maybe going over the most uncomfortable bits, or, like, just sort of, like, knowing that you're reading it for posterity, you know, like, embracing the changes that we've made in our culture now, you know, to be more inclusive as a society. I don't know. But anyway, I am enjoying it other than that. And purely because of just the incredible cheesiness of it. It's ridiculous and I love it. Okay, I'm gonna read you the back. I'm just gonna... Okay, give me a second now. Storm was her name and her destiny. Ooh, I gotta go back to work. Born on a night when lightning flashed and thunder rolled, the raven-haired beauty was 16 before the promise of her name became the path of her life. Born to wealth, the belle of 5 counties, she was wagered away to a middle-aged rancher by her wastrel uncle. On her way to Texas to marry Gabriel North, she was captured by outlaws, and wagered away again by her captor to a blue-eyed bounty hunter. Ooh, it's all going wrong. A dark-skinned gunslinger called El Lobo, the Wolf. A man who could kill in cold blood, then take her with fire and tenderness when she whispered to him. Love, Cherish Me, a story so powerful it defies description, and a love so absolute it can never be forgotten. A work of art, a masterpiece. Okay, so opening scene, as I said, is basically erotica. They are doing it hard. There are loads of different words she comes up with for a penis, okay? She never says penis, okay? But she does mention the member several times using synonyms, okay? Like, also, how many synonyms can you think of for chesticles? Ladies, anyone? She's thought of about 35, which is what I love about books like this. So I have a feeling that she's gonna end up with this, like, rancher guy in the end, but currently she's on a horse riding hell for leather with this, like, El Lobo gunslinger guy. And she's, like, starting to enjoy it, I think. Before she was frightened, and now she's just free. Like, I'll tell you, 2 of my favorite TV shows. Okay, I'll say my 2 favorite TV shows my whole life. Now, ever since I was a kid. I Love Lucy, first of all. Not relevant here. Moving on. Second one, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. I don't know why. Don't ask me, okay? Just something about, like, I don't know, the cheesiness of it, the westernness of it, like, nothing about it is particularly good. Like, the writing is bad, you know, it's not, like, particularly cinematic, you know, or, like, beautiful artistry. It's, like, obviously a soundstage, do you know what I mean? And, like, a badly built one. Every time they have, like, real scenery shots of Colorado Springs, it's just, like, a different kind of film, you know? It, like, obviously switches to, like, a lesser quality film and then switches back. The acting is pretty poor as well. But something about it, man, I just hella love it. And this is, like, reminding me of that. Like, it's, you know, way more erotic you know. But other than that, it's basically Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. Like, the towns are the same people are presented, you know, and I think that's why I'm really digging it, to be honest. It's like connecting with like a deep nostalgia in me, or like this like part that lives in me and lives for cheesy westerns and is hiding from me most of the time. I have to go back to work, so I need to finish this collection of tasty Thanksgiving goodies. My husband and my kid and I, we are going to go to the pub after work. We're all going to meet up after work and school and everything at the Weatherspoons, like the super cheap pub down the road, to embrace, you know, all the bounty that Weatherspoons has to offer for roughly £10. I'm excited. And I'm feeling loads of love for y'all, okay? And I want you to have an amazing Thanksgiving. If you're in America having Thanksgiving, have an amazing American Thanksgiving. If you're somewhere else in the world, I don't know, celebrate Thanksgiving for me, you know. Maybe think of things that you think are amazing about your life and are really thankful. Or just like eat a shit ton, drink a shit ton, and then tomorrow refuse to wear trousers, okay? This is what I've got for you. Okay. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, please give it a like. If you have any comments at all, please let me know about these books or any other books, you know, about gas stations or weird places that you love to find books, or like the dusty books in a corner that no one wants to read that you always do love to read, or, you know, maybe you've had the same experience but every single book you found and picked up turned out to be really shit. Like, please let me know. Or if it's Thanksgiving, you're celebrating Thanksgiving, you know, over at your house, let me know how you're celebrating. If you're having an amazing Thanksgiving, a really shitty one because Grandpa won't stop talking about Donald Trump, just let me know. Okay, thank you. Bye!